Eccoci di nuovo qua ragazzi, bentornati.
Welcome back to my channel, guys. Back on the roads of Italy to discover another piece of this beautiful country. Today I'm in Tuscany and I'm here to explore beautiful hamlets, natural parks, dreamlike beaches, ancient roads carved into the rock, natural free spa. Welcome to Maremma. Let's go!
Andiamo!
First, few words about the Maremma, this word that sounds a bit like maritime, so a land close to the sea between southern Tuscany and northern Lazio. And here I am in the southernmost part of Tuscany, in the province of Grosseto, the most popular area in Maremma. And of course, there is no better place to start this video than Castiglione della Pescaia, the main seaside resort in Maremma and in the entire Tuscany. Beautiful medieval town, blue flag for its waters, green flag because children can play safely on the beach and not deep waters, purple flag because it's suitable for disabled. Look at these beautiful glimpses, these old alleys gathered around the castle that is private, I know, you cannot visit it, but take a look at the panorama from here. Come, I want to show you. But I already know that some of you is thinking, rightly, okay Stefano, you're telling us that Castiglione della Pescaia is the main seaside destination in Tuscany and you come in March? Of course I've come here in March, it's so beautiful to be here in low season. Look at this wild beach, there's no one here, so beautiful these dunes. This is the beach of the Tombolo pine forest. In a few weeks these dunes will be in bloom, a great smell in the air. If I had come here in July I would have seen a lot of people. Down there 1 million sunbeds, beach umbrellas, screaming children, no parking lot available. Now it's much better. And above all, this thing about coming to Maremma in high season is just the trend of the recent years. Yeah, because once people came here from September to May, then in June, July, August, everyone escaped because it was simply impossible to stay here in summer. You have to know that this plain behind me, that starts from Castiglione della Pescaia and goes up to Alberese, Principina, MARE, up to the first hills you see on the back, that it's Grosseto, once didn't exist. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of years ago. So behind me there was the Tyrrhenian Sea. Then, across the centuries, the debris brought by the rivers and the tides formed an air. That is a narrow strip of land that you see right there on my left, where you see the pine forest. Air that closed this corner of the sea that became a lagoon, known by the Romans as the Lake Prile. Lagoon that across the centuries dried and became a swamp. So now you begin to understand. Swamp plus hot weather in summer is equal to those damned mosquitoes that brought malaria. That's why people ran away from Maremma in summer, because they died. It's curious that they didn't know this was a disease brought by mosquitoes. I ask you to make an effort. Imagine a huge swamp behind me. With the hot weather, the plants that usually were submerged by water rotted under the sun and they smelled really bad. The fishes swam in smaller and smaller puddles, dried by the sun. They died and rotted under the sun, so they smelled really bad. You understand that here the air was unbreathable. So that's why people left, and that's the reason they gave for all those dead people. They thought people died of bad air, malaria in Italian. But here no reclamation until the second half of the 18th century. Also because the Medici family from Florence, they made big money out of Maremma. Fishing licenses, the rental of the meadows, so for them Maremma was profitable. By the way, the meadows of Maremma were the guarantee for the loans granted by a bank of that time, called Mount of the Paschi. Paschi is meadows in Italian, but back to what I was saying. Behind me you see the Marse fortress. It was built 300 years ago for defensive purposes. It was also the place where people collected the salt and later the headquarters for the land reclamation works directed by Leonardo Ximenes. Ximenes. Well, a certain engineer Leonardo.
Insomma, questo Leonardo
So this Leonardo Ximenes, or Ximenes, I don't know the right pronunciation, had already reclaimed other areas of Tuscany successfully. According to him, so many dead people here were due to the fact that this was the meeting point between the salty waters of the sea and the fresh waters from the inland that caused toxic smoke dangerous for the health. So, simple solution, let's keep the water from the sea separated from the fresh water. Thanks to this red building you see behind me, called Red House Ximenes, which is a kind of big sluice with many bulkheads. Stroke of genius, but simple at the same time and total disaster. This was a failure. Years later, a new technique called filling was used to divert the rivers towards here to fill the swamp with their debris. And then many workers from all over Tuscany, they came here to spread the debris on the whole area and cover the swamp. But those men suffered the pains of hell, breaking their backs in the cold in winter, in the heat wave in summer, with the terrible smog, dying of malaria. And this situation went on until 1950s. That's why still nowadays it's common in Tuscany to say bad words like damned Maremma, freaking Maremma, disgusting Maremma, and many others even worse you can understand. Because in the past those miserable workers vented their rage this way. But this belongs to the past. Today Maremma is very beautiful. This is a natural reserve called Diaccia Botrona, a very peaceful place where to see beautiful plants and animals, and, if you are lucky, also the pink flamingos. The Red House Ximenes has become a museum with an exhibit about the era of the reclamations, so windy Maremma, let's take a tour. So guys, after a proper induction, let's go and see this Maremma. We start from the Maremma Regional Park, a green oasis of about 22,000 acres that stretches for 15 miles along the coast, with the UCCELLINA mounts behind it, from Principina Mare to Talamone, a beautiful area where to see foxes, fallow deers and wild boar, and lots of other animals, especially if I shut up. Let's go! The regional park of Maremma is amazing. One of the best things to see are the ruins of the abandoned Abbey of San Rabano and the UCCELLINA Tower, a religious complex built by the Benedictine monks, who tried to settle here in the 13th century. The complex was definitely abandoned in the 16th century, following the construction of a new church in Alberese. The well-marked hike goes on downhill, and in less than 1 hour we reach a beautiful meadow full of rosemary and olive trees, the perfect place where to take a break under the weak sunbeams of March. While we are having a snack and chatting, here they come, out of nowhere, the fallow deers of the park, so many. At first they seem at ease, but of course they run away as soon as they realize we are looking at them. Just few more steps and the hike begins to become sandy, and in no time at all we are walking on the sand of the Colle Lungo beach. Beautiful, isn't it? Check it out. Not bad, huh? Well, in July I would have bathing in the sea, but not bad even now. Being here, now, is the best thing we could do. In this moment, in this place, with our minds and spirit, there is absolutely no one here, and we can enjoy this paradise all for us. In this peaceful corner of the world, in this time of the year, it's very easy to meet wild animals. For instance, a lot of foxes, which are so cute, it's true, but not so nice when they try to steal your backpack with the food. And the car keys. And the house keys. And everything else.
Fantastico.
Fantastic. Simply fantastic. There is a ticket to pay to enter the park of Maremma, but it's totally worth it. And after a nice hike, a nice bike ride. We came to Marina di Alberese this morning and left our bikes here. Then we drove to Alberese, where we started the hike. And through the hills and then the beach, we got back here in Marina di Alberese. Now with our bikes we ride the last 6 miles to go back to the car. 6 miles of bike path that runs alongside the only road you find. I think this is a good idea, because to walk the entire hike can be very long. A quiet ride in this beautiful landscape. Foxes like there's no tomorrow, but also many cows of the Maremma with their huge horns that look at us strange as we pass with our bikes and scare the bills. And this fresh air that reawakens the senses, the expanses of peach trees in bloom telling "È primavera." Well, after a long hike and 6 miles cycling, is recommended to get stuff with a lot of food, of course. Appetizers, tortellini of the Maremma with meat sauce, tortellini with butter and sage, beef stew with mushrooms, mashed potatoes, dessert. Guys, see you tomorrow for the second part of the video. Now we focus on food. Stay there.